Welcome to another episode, everyone. We have an update on Hefe, who may indeed be coming home next month. Trapmore Ross here. Shout out to Trapmore Ross. Went to Hefe's court date. He's there, right there. I was in that court. That's the court that gave me 20 years on my last time. It's not about me, though. That's CCB court. He was there at Hefe's court date, apparently this morning. He wanted to check it out himself. Now, I skipped past the part where he was talking about a few things. He was saying that he went in there and seen at Hefe, and Hefe was in there with his co-defendant, and Hefe had looked serious, he said, and Hefe, he said, was not playing any games, and that Hefe was surprised to see him there in court, and he hopes that nothing comes of that. This is what he said, that he hopes, Hefe is not too upset that he was there in court, because Hefe may be saying, why are you here in court? He knows who he is, clearly, and says, this is the look he believes that he got from Hefe. Why are you here in court? Knowing Hefe is probably assuming this dude's about to go do a video on what's going on in the court. And perhaps Hefe had a problem with that. I'm not sure. So I skipped past a lot of the stuff that he's talking about going on with the case. He's talking about the case some, I don't know. You can go check him out, Trapmore Ross. But here I'm just playing what happened with the bail situation. And Hefe is trying to get his bail lowered so that he can bail out next month. They're about to have a bail hearing apparently next month on August 6th or something. And if Hefe's bail is lowered, then perhaps we'll see him home.
If he could basically get the bail review at the August 6th date, the judge approved that, and then there was kind of like a little bit of a moment, and it almost seemed like maybe the judge wasn't sure if they were on the same page. And then the judge basically asked the judge basically asked Ant's legal team, do you also want a bail review on August the 6th? And they kind of had a little moment, and they were like, yeah, we do. It almost felt a little bit like they were kind of like, I don't know if they felt blindsided, but they just kind of like, the way that they were speaking was sort of like, yeah, we do. Like the two different lawyers over each defendant's shoulder kind of speaking separately. Again, it was just unclear whether it wasn't clear to me that they were totally in it together. They weren't having the same lawyer, but also they weren't going against each other. They weren't it wasn't like they were adversarial in any way from what I could see. Now, what was very, very interesting and unfortunate is that when the judge basically signed off that they were going to be able to have the bail hearing in the next court date, she did warn them. She became very, very serious, and she basically said, I have to warn you, due to the statute, due to this being a murder case, due to this being so serious, be careful, because it's possible that at that hearing you might be trying to get a lesser bail, you might be trying to make your bail, but she's saying the crime is so serious that there is always a possibility that when it comes to that hearing, we might revoke bail, we might say no bail, we might move it to say, no, actually, this is so serious, you want to try and get a bail hearing, but we're actually going to give you no bail, no possibility of bail at this point. And, they accepted that. I mean, it wasn't really a debate. The judge kind of was just telling them, and they was like, okay, nodded along, it is what it is, but...
So then Hefe is taking a chance then at this bail hearing. People talking about he coming home, or hopefully he does, because the judge is going to say that, but that they're not going to increase the bail. They already increased it to what it is now. If they were going to increase it, he's been in there for 2 months or so now. They would have already increased the bail. They're not going to increase it. People have lesser bails for more serious crimes or more murders than just one. I've seen it. People have, $200,000 bail, whatever, and they have 3 murder cases. So the fact that he has 1 murder charge, obviously is a very serious charge, arguably the highest you can go, the worst charge that one can have for the most part, time-wise, the time that you're facing. But I've seen people with lesser charge, with the same charges or whatever, but with lesser bails. So, it's a good possibility that they will decrease his bail. The judge obviously apparently gave out a warning that, okay, we can revoke your bail, but if they were going to do that, they would have already did it. He's been in there for 2 months. And though this is a murder case, as I said, it seems more to me like a manslaughter. I haven't gotten into the case. I don't want to litigate the case and Hefe's case here on the internet. I've tried to stay away from that as much as possible, but just from what I know loosely, just from paying attention loosely to his situation, I just know, being in prison so long myself, the letter of the law, I know that murder is with intent. Period. That's murder. You need intent for murder. You intended for this person to die. That's murder. That's intent. You were trying to kill this person, and you did. That's murder. If you were not trying to kill someone, but they happen to die, that's manslaughter. Period. So if someone is being beaten and you're not trying to kill them, they just happen to die. Marcelli had a manslaughter before. He socked the dude fell, hit his head on the concrete and died. They gave him a manslaughter. They gave him 11 years though. But he had a manslaughter because it's not a murder, because he didn't know when he punched the dude that the dude was going to die. He wasn't trying to kill him. He was trying to punch him, which he did. Now, if you go and, you shooting someone in the head and it's that, you're trying to, and the person dies, as far as they concerned, you were trying to kill him because of the nature of the crime. But if you're DPing someone or beating someone up or getting into a fight with someone or whatever, and that person dies for whatever reason, it could have been pre-existing medical conditions. It could have been your punch that did it, brain aneurysm or what have you. But that's not intent. That's not intent to kill. So it seems like more of a manslaughter type situation at some point. I don't know. According to Trapmore Ross, I mean, the judge is saying that these are very serious charges, as if he's Ted Bundy or something. And, I understand again that it's a murder charge. I understand that someone died does not mean that it is a murder. Again, could very well be a manslaughter and perhaps should be in this case from the circumstances that just we all have heard at this point, that it was some sort of DP going bad or what have you. But the fact that it was a DP going bad, means that there was no intent to kill. You're beating it, no one stabbed him, no one shot him. We wasn't trying to kill a dude, beating him up. Wasn't trying to kill him. He ended up dying, but we was trying to beat him up. That's manslaughter. I'm just saying. But from what I know, but I don't know all of the ins and outs about this situation, this case. It could be much worse than we all know. Someone could have, for whatever reason, they believed that they were intending to kill him. Or whoever it was that's responsible for this. So we'll see what happens. But according to him, as we just heard, the judge said, no, this is serious. We can revoke your bail, or we can lower it. Well, hell, you might as well take that chance, because if you can't make the bail as it is right now, what difference does it make? If you're gonna revoke it or make it another $5 million, okay, I can't bail out now anyway. That's the whole point. That's why I'm trying to get you to lower it. So either you're going to lower it, or you can just leave it where it's at. I still can't bail out. That's why I need you to lower it. So if you're gonna increase the bail or whatever, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I can't bail out unless you lower it. So yeah, I'll have no choice but to take that chance. But I would not be surprised if they lowered this man's bail. I'm telling you, because it seems more like a manslaughter type situation, in which case his bail wouldn't be what it is. He could have been bailed out if they had charged him with manslaughter. But it could be something that I am missing. As I said, I haven't investigated the case. I'm not trying to litigate the case or investigate the case. So it could be something that I am missing because for whatever reason, they charged him with the highest thing that you can charge someone with, murder instead of a manslaughter, with them knowing that there was no intent, whoever it was. So, but the judge, as Trapmore Ross here is saying, she has a different take on it, that it's just a little manslaughter and it's just, beat someone up and they happen to die. According to him, the judge is saying this is very serious and hell, we might revoke your bail.
I thought that was very interesting because I'm sure everybody would like to try and get a bail in this situation. We've got all sorts of sirens going on out here. It's crazy, really downtown shit. But basically, I would say that it seemed a lot like, what is going on? What's going on? Let's see if we can, it's an ambulance, Hope whoever that's going for is safe. But yeah, basically, it seemed like, yeah, it seemed very serious. Ant spoke to his lawyer quite a lot. He really kind of was very, very locked into conversation with him, very, very focused. He didn't seem down bad. He didn't seem in a negative mood. He seemed to me like he was just very focused. He was trying to get to the bottom of this situation, trying to make heads or tails of what was going on. And, essentially was just taking the situation very, very seriously. So right. I do think that there's going to be some interesting updates. We're probably going to hear from, the judge about what's going on with his bail on August the 6th. hopefully he does get the opportunity to get bail. I know a lot of people would love to see him back on No Jumper, back outside, making money, doing business, doing his thing. Obviously, everybody's missed him, and he's still managed to make videos from inside, which is...
I'm sure he's not really thinking about No Jumper right now. If he makes bail, he's just thinking about his freedom and, getting himself out of the situation. But yeah, as Trapmore Ross said, hopefully he makes bail. I mean, I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if they drop his bail. Even though the judge said what she said, Trapmore Ross said the judge turned serious and said, okay, we had a bail hearing, but there's a possibility that, so you're going to be the judge. It's going to be you to make that decision. Why would you increase his bail just because he asked for a bail hearing? If you were going to increase it, you should have already done that. Or if you were going to revoke his bail, you should have already done that. Why would you do it now? Because he asked for a bail hearing. You have the bail hearing, and then say, well, we might revoke your bail or increase it to try to scare him off from having the bail hearing. Hell, he has nothing to lose at this point. Again, you increase it, so what? I can't make bail anyway. You leave it where it's at, I can't make bail. I would have been out already 2 months. So I need you to decrease the bail. We'll see, man. Let's hope. All Hefe supporters gather around, see what we can do. Hey, got to August 6th.
Pretty impressive, to be honest with you. I wonder if he'll mention me being there. I don't know. He did seem a little surprised when I popped out. But, I do hope that we can get a resolution with this. I hope that they don't completely say, yeah, no bail possibility after that. I think it would be good if he gets the opportunity to get bail. Maybe he can raise the funds to make that happen. But obviously, you take a gamble with these things. When you...
He seemed to be a little bit worried about what Hefe might have to say about him showing up to that court date, because he mentioned it earlier in the video, as I said. He was talking a little bit about the case, just a little, but I didn't... Something about it. I didn't play that. I skipped past all that and just talking about his bail. Maybe I'll even wait to hear from Aunt Hefe, because as he just said, he don't know if Aunt Hefe is going to mention him in his next video. I think Aunt Hefe in the left court, he went back to that cell and started crashing out. And he called in. That's going to be his next video. Trapmore Ross, what the hell was you doing in my court date? This is what he worried about, because he mentioned it a couple of times. Said, I don't know, he saw me in there. I don't know if he's going to mention me in the video. He's worried about, because apparently Aunt Hefe must have looked at him what are you doing here, bro? In my business, in my court date, so you can go and make a video and report it. And as we can see, he made the video right in front of the courthouse. He ain't wait till he got home. He outside of the courthouse making the video. So I said, maybe I'll wait for Aunt Hefe to see if he says something about his court date or whatever. Because he might not be happy about people talking about his court date, actually. This is what he's worried about. But I'm only talking about his bail. I skipped past everything else he said. I'm just talking about his bail, trying to see if we can get the Aunt Hefe out. The Hefe effect, see if he coming home. There's a possibility, as I said, he can get out next month, bro. They can lower his bail.
When you're trying to get your bail hearing, when you're pushing for that bail, as the judge made it very clear, and it was respectful, she warned them. She said, look, I'm just warning you. I'm just letting you guys know, if you want that, I'll give it to you, but it could go the other way. And it sounded like they were willing to make that risk. So, man, that's the latest update. I'm here at the courthouse. I'm going to be reporting on other trials that are going forward. I hope you found that update interesting. I might do another update on the ant situation in another video at my desk, because there were a few new pieces of evidence that are circulating, some new kind of analysis about the case.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know parts of that evidence about the case and what's going on about the case. Just want to know about his situation. Is he coming home? Just want to know about his bail. Bring you all the situation about his bail. He's having a bail hearing next month. Try to get his bail decreased. There you have it. And hopefully he comes home. Hopefully they decrease his bail. Apparently he feels like he can bail out if they decrease it. Wouldn't be asking for the bail hearing. So, decrease it to a certain amount, whatever that amount may be for him, his family, his supporters. But the judge said what she said, as we heard. He mentioned that a couple of times as well. The judge was serious in saying what she said, that we can't revoke your bail, we can increase your bail, whatever. That's what a bail hearing is. We look at the circumstances of the case and we determine if it's in order to decrease it, increase it, or revoke it. We can look at this and say, your bail should have never been this to begin with. What the hell was this? No, we're going to increase this. Or same thing, and look at it and say, yeah, your bail should have never been this, should have never been this high. We're going to decrease it. According to Trapmore Ross, the judge had already gave a look into her thought process by saying it could be increased because it's a serious charge. But she's just letting him know the letter of the law. That's what a bail hearing is. It can go either way, a bail hearing. She's just letting him know that. We can increase it. We can decrease your bail. That's what you're asking for. Of course, we can have a hearing and see. That's what the hearing is for. But at a hearing, that's just it. We're going to go over your case and decide what's the appropriate bail for this case. You're going to have to live with that decision. We can decrease it and say the appropriate bail for this case is this. Or we can say the appropriate bail is no bail, or etc. But no bail, revoke the bail on a case that looks like it should be perhaps a manslaughter. Someone getting beat up and happened to die. Rest in peace to that individual. That goes to a no bail. I've seen much worse. Been up in that jailhouse, in that county jail, and all, I've seen much where people in there for some crazy, heinous crimes, and they are able to bail out. They have a bail at whatever, $100,000, whatever, something manageable. What is this? This is crazy for the crime. It looks like on paper anyway. Again, looking like the charges should be decreased at some point. But that's me saying that. That's me just from what I've been hearing about the situation. I don't know the ins and outs of the situation, obviously. As he said, he has more information about evidence and this and that. And the judge made the statement that she made. Perhaps there's more to it than I know, whatever. I don't know. I don't even want to get into it. Hopefully Aunt Hefe makes it home. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm talking about. That's what this is about. That he's having a bail hearing, and we'll see what happens, man. Y'all believe in prayer or whatever. Hey, do what y'all got to do. We'll see what happens when young Aunt Hefe, in just a few weeks here, a couple of weeks basically coming up, he heads back to court for this bail here. He may not even want nobody to know that he's trying to get his bail decreased and all that. I don't know, man. Maybe I'll wait, like I say, to hear from him. See if he say something about it on his channel before I run out here with it. He may be want to keep his court dates a secret, his court situation a secret. All of that, that's why perhaps he looked at Trapmore Ross sideways when he was in there. He may not want to come back to the cell, get on the phone, and talk about his court date. He may, though. He may say, man, I went to court today and I'm trying to get my bail decreased. We'll see what happens next month, I mean, he may say that. What he's trying to do, at least maybe not talk about the case itself, but talk, I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to get my bail reduced and get out, man. Y'all support me. Y'all gather up and send some energy my way or whatever. He may say that. So we'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments, man. Shout out to young Aunt Hefe. Stay strong, bro. Hang in there. I know this situation is tough. As Trapmore Ross said, he's looking very serious in the courtroom. He was all business, no smiles. And he's taking this very serious. Yeah, of course. That's what we should hope. And we can see he's fighting. He has a lawyer that's fighting for him, that's trying to get him out. This is what's going on. They're trying to get him home. So let's see what happens, man. Hang in there. Stay safe and stay free, people.